guys are very close, seem to be very close knit, work well together.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, when you saw what was going to happen in the first couple episodes, what did you think about losing some of the
it was awful.
some of the characters?
Yeah,
or
that was
potentially
awful.
losing some of the characters.
Oh,
It
well,
sucks.
I don't know about you guys, but the showrunner called us on the phone and
he
told
told
everybody. Yeah, and it was really sad. I didn't like it. I had a hard time even like shooting it.
Yeah. I can't, it's hard to talk about now. It's, you know, we shot season 1 and we, as you see, we are a close-knit group. So to lose one of us was just, I don't know, it's hard to accept, you know what I mean? But
It's like the heart of our
weird.
show.
But at least we got new family members.
yeah, we do.
I'm new, I wasn't in season 1. But I have met Mark a few times and he's...
Well, that was going to be my next question is, so what was it like joining in to a cast that was...
We still haven't accepted her, actually.
Awful. Just took so long, no one would speak to me. Lovely, absolutely lovely. Like, I remember my first day on set and it was quite a full-on day. Like, we were in our underwear, like, I was like, oh my god.
We weren't
I just met
actually
these
shooting, that was
people.
the weird part. Rehearsal, she was in her underwear. Like, alright, fair enough.
Hi Anthony, nice
British
to meet you.
actors, yeah.
Underwear.
Good. Is that what we do? Alright.
And we were getting blasted by this dry ice, which was freezing. But you know, we bonded pretty quickly. Broke the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dry ice, yeah.
Specifically the two Mels. Mel Squared has become a thing on set, and they are just quite the duo.
So last week we saw the evil versions of everyone come back, except for 5.
Yeah,
So-
because I had to deal with all of the evil versions of everybody.
Just
by
babysit.
myself.
We're not sure that there is an evil version
Yeah,
of
that's,
five,
she
actually.
was a designated
Yeah.
driver.
What, really?
Do you think there's an evil version of you somewhere in there? Yeah?
Some alternate universe 5 is
Although you did get a good
5.
fight scene in this week's episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh, that was awful. That was it. Well, it was awful to go through that as a character, but
Yeah.
so fun to get to play a victim because so often 2 is the aggressive person.
We
She's the one
switched
pursuing it.
places pretty much. I mean, 5 hasn't been that aggressive really so far. And
No,
so it was,
I've never hit anyone with a steel pipe. Like, I've never done that.
It was such a great scene.
It was beautiful.
honestly, that was one of my favorites when I watched it. I was really happy with how it turned out. It's just like a totally different tone than the rest of the show so far, and any of 5's scenes. So I like it because it's different.
Yeah, DeMarco was the director for that episode, and he
brilliant.
was fantastic. I really hope to work with him again.
There was a little part of me in there, though. Speaking of Evil 5, there was a little part of me when she's sitting there and she's like, okay, do I finish her off or do I play empathetic 5? And she plays empathetic 5. There's a part of me that because I'm watching it like a fan, I'm like, just I'm like, wow, 5's going in a different
Dark
direction.
days.
But she didn't.
Yeah.
Well, going forward, 5 really sort of finds her leadership self, right? I've sort of peeked ahead, but talk about sort of that transition from being the character who everybody's taking care of to the character who sort of takes care of herself and everyone else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think 5 is always evolving. Well, all of the characters are, but she is totally different than at the beginning of the first season. I mean, she's really come very far from when nobody really took her seriously, and she didn't even realize herself probably how much she's capable of. And now she's this strong character, or she already was, but much stronger than before. And yeah, she's going places.
She's earned her way though, right? She's done a lot, so.
It makes me think of that thing that this might be a spoiler, but at one point a character says to 5, I bet you the next time I see you, you'll be captain of this ship. And it
Yeah.
and it made me, but the second that was written in, I was like, spoiler? yeah. 5 seasons.
Or more.
Yeah, maybe.
And a movie.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah?
So the other thing that strikes me about the show is the relationship between the 3 women. And what I like is that there don't seem to be, a lot of times in shows when there's strong women, there's somebody another woman trying to tear them down or that kind of thing. And it seems like after those bumps in the road are over with, everybody sort of has each other's backs in even in a bigger way, I think, than with the guys sometimes.
Yeah, I find this question interesting because I think what defines a strong woman, I mean, a truly strong woman does accept another strong woman.
Exactly.
And I think that's why our characters get on so well and they gel and they have a respect for each other, a huge respect for each other. So, yeah.
Yeah, right from the get-go, even as we were fighting, even in the middle of our fight, we're kind of like giving each other props, you know, because strength recognizes strength, queens recognize queens, and that's totally what happens there. And I completely agree. We don't see that very frequently on TV, and I think we're all very proud to have the opportunity to represent that on television because it's important and it's real. It happens every day, all the time with strong women, and it's completely outrageous that we don't see it more often. Yeah.
Agreed.
So in this week's episode, we see that Android finds that device that lets her. Can you talk about, without giving too many spoilers, the following week, what it was like working with her as a normal?
Weird.
Super weird.
Especially when she did that thing to your bum. That came out weird. I'm sorry, that came out so weird. Spoiler.
Have you seen what he's had to eat in prison? And then you gotta talk about that? Come on.
How did you feel about that thing she did to your bum?
That felt great. All I can say is I love the new Android. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun watching Zoe flip between the two. Yeah.
She must have really enjoyed it as well.
Slapping me in the ass? Yeah.
Now you said what it is.
What?
It was just a thing with the butt, Anthony, and it. Well, that escalated.
Yeah, I think she must have enjoyed that. And it's fun. It's fun as three, of course. It was fun to play that moment where, where it's hard to. I mean, we're going straight into spoiler territory here, but there's a transition, and it's fun to watch. To live through three's reaction to that transition. Boy, that's about as neutral as I can say. It's exciting. It's what Joe and Paul do best. They sort of throw curveballs at the audience and the characters and actors, where all of a sudden you think you're one way, and now you get to play something completely different that's totally opposite of what he set up for the character.
Yeah, the Android's going through an incredible arc this season, and I think for anybody who's really into science news, specifically anything that has to do with the brain and brain mapping and plasticity, like what they take her through is exactly what we're on the cutting edge of science today with the brain. So if you want to know what's happening, just read some science news because it's really, really fun, and I can't believe that Joe and Paul came up with this last year. They're kind of, in one part of my brain, they feel a little bit like prophets, but that's kind of how science fiction always has been. It's always looked ahead to see how things happen, and that's how people are inspired to pursue those things and to create those things. Yep. Read the news. You'll know exactly what's happening with our Android.
And so we've seen.
Everyone looked at you for some reason, including us.
So we've seen we had three new people show up on the ship, and two of them already have some suspicions about them. So what about Nyx? Is she hiding something?
She's hiding a few things. I was saying earlier, Nyx has a few secrets that will be revealed. But I don't want to ruin anything. Nyx, you find out more about Nyx's backstory in episode 206, and it's really interesting.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that because you, too, have that conversation, you allude to how the hell is it that Nyx can stay in a fight with our nanite induced human being on here. So that will be revealed, and that's a cool backstory moment. Yeah.
I was going to say Nyx finds too intriguing because when they do have their fight in prison, it would have been the first time Nyx has been challenged in this way. So my character's quite surprised by that.
So when you were fighting three, Nyx was fighting three, you knew that it was basically like fighting a 12-year-old, and yet you like punched me and threw me across the room anyway. So what did that say exactly about your test? Yeah, just like I test my little kid when I.
Okay. And cut to black. Test my kid when I.
Yeah, that's my point. See, what kind of empathetic human being are you, strong women?
How does 3 feel about not being the toughest person in the room?
What are you talking about? 3's never the toughest person in the room. 3 gets beat up by absolutely everybody.
No.
But the best thing about 3 is that he keeps getting back up off the mat.
That's right.
He's a hopeful character
There you go.
who doesn't let people get him down. Doesn't let others' opinions in reality actually cloud his version of his opinion of himself.
You got the toughest mouth. You got the
strong
toughest mouth
chin.
and the strong chin. Yeah.
Strong chin. Yeah.
Strong glass jaw.
Unbreakable glass.
Yeah.
So you guys, in the previous episode, you were, as we mentioned, the evil version of yourselves, and at the end you sort of decide not to
Yeah.
do that. Is that possibly going to pop back up? People are going to have second thoughts about whether they want to actually get their full memories back?
Probably a fairly safe. Let's just say that things are rarely planted without the reverberations of those.
Joe
events.
loves his payoffs. Yeah, he's anything that he puts in there, he always rewards people for sticking it out.
Yeah.
He's not gonna dangle a carrot and then not pass it to you at some point. So yeah, good question. As you can see, you've touched a sensitive spot. Everyone's fidgeting, not sure what they can say. So it was a great question. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it.
It is. Sorry.
Like,
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what you did.